Hello, new faculty. My name is Jennifer Sias, and I'm a professor in the School of Journalism and Mass Communications. I'm also the coordinator of the university's first-year seminar. I want to welcome you to Marshall University. Congratulations on your new job. Now, 4 or so years from now, the freshmen who are beginning their college careers at Marshall will graduate and will be in the position you were just in. They will be on the job market in their respective fields. What will it be like for them? What will their future employers want? What kinds of skills do they seek in job candidates? Well, according to an article in Inside Higher Ed, which references Bloomberg research, the top skills that employers are looking for are the ability to work collaboratively, teamwork, adaptability, analytic thinking, creative problem solving, decision making, a global mindset, and strategic thinking. Now, you'll find similar skill sets mentioned in other articles, such as a Forbes piece that says employers want employees who like to problem solve. In short, they want employees who have the ability to think critically. And in a time where we are bombarded with information, good, useful, credible, and relevant information, along with a lot of junk, misleading, inaccurate, so-called fake news, has there ever been a time when we need to exercise critical thinking skills more? Well, that's why at most colleges and universities you will find courses like our first-year seminar, which are integral to the university's general education program. Let me share with you a little history. The first-year seminar at Marshall dates back to 2010. It's a course based in critical thinking, designed for first-year students. The 3-credit-hour course is academic, graded, and required. With critical and integrative thinking overall as the focus, this course specifically targets 5 learning outcomes, what I call the 4 I's and the 1 M: information literacy, inquiry-based thinking, intercultural thinking, integrative thinking, and metacognitive thinking. Now, you may know that Marshall's degree profile is comprised of 9 learning outcomes. That is, when a student graduates with a baccalaureate degree, regardless of subject or discipline, there are 9 basic areas of competency in which every graduate should have developed some proficiency. So when the Gen Ed curriculum, which we call the core curriculum at Marshall, was devised, we did some backwards planning and asked ourselves which of those 9 could we, or should we, start addressing in the freshman year. And that's what informed the creation of the first-year seminar and its focus on 5 of the 9 learning outcomes. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about how instructors approach teaching FYS, and they do so through themes. So while FYS is based on those 5 learning outcomes and contains some common elements that I'll address in a few minutes, you should know that FYS instructors develop their own approaches to teaching the seminar, generally based on a theme. For instance, Dr. Barbara Tarter long ago developed a sort of CSI approach to her sections of FYS. Now, she divides her class into 3 groups, and they examine some notable criminal cases. 1/3 of the class examines a case from the perspective of law enforcement. They gather the information. Another 1/3 examines the same case from the perspective of the prosecution. And the final 1/3 takes the perspective of the defense. Now, when they move on to a new case, those 3 groups alternate roles so that everyone has a chance to examine a given case from a different perspective. We know that being able to view situations and problems from different points of view is an exercise in critical thinking. And so that's how Barbara approaches FYS, through a theme. At different points in the class, the activities and assignments they engage in emphasize inquiry-based thinking, intercultural thinking, integrative thinking, information literacy, and metacognitive thinking. Now, with FYS's foundation built on those 5 learning outcomes, there are some common elements to all FYS sections. First up, readings. Every section of FYS includes some common readings, like the Marshall Experience, which explains what FYS is designed to do and how it fits into the core curriculum. And we have a list of readings and resources focused on each of the 5 learning outcomes. We just ask that all FYS instructors use at least one reading or resource for each learning outcome in their sections. Beyond that, faculty are free to choose other readings that fit their themes. For instance, because my students are focused on the theme of storytelling and oral history interviews, I have my students read a book called Ask More by Frank Sesno. It's all about the art and science of how to ask good strategic questions. Now, other professors may just rely on readings available through our library databases or through open access materials and other internet-based readings. It's totally up to you, as long as you use at least one reading or resource from the FYS list for each learning outcome. Now, another common element to FYS is that every section of the class is expected to have a final project, what we would call a summative or a culminating project that students work towards throughout the semester. In some classes, it might be a presentation. In others, it might be a paper. And in others, it could be some sort of project. Whatever it is, it should be more substantial than a regular assignment. And it needs to emphasize or align to at least one, of the 5 learning outcomes. In my class, for instance, students examine different kinds of nonfiction stories, specifically oral histories. And then, for their final project, they conduct their own oral history interview. So, throughout the class, they're studying and analyzing oral histories, and they learn about how they're conducted, and then they end up doing it. In my class, that actually involves recording, either in audio or video, an oral history interview. Then my students upload their projects to StoryCorps, a national storytelling project which archives the interviews at the Library of Congress. And then my students also write a reflection about the project. Another common element to FYS is an exam. So in addition to a final project or this summative assessment in the form of a project, every section also has an FYS exam at the end. Now, it's administered online through Blackboard on the day set by the registrar. The FYS exams have been developed in-house, so to speak, by FYS instructors who've developed a sort of library of scenarios over the years during summer projects. So, the FYS exam is provided for you and the students, and the coordinator loads them into the Blackboard shells for FYS each semester before the first day of class. Now, every first-year student takes a similar exam or scenario during the week of welcome. So with that, and then the FYS exam at the end of the class, our assessment office has both pre- and post data. And let me tell you, they have some pretty compelling data that shows the efficacy of FYS. The assessment data not only show growth in terms of critical thinking skills, but they also show that FYS is an important factor in persistence in terms of retention. This class has been a factor in retaining freshmen who go on to enroll in the sophomore year. So, How do you sign up and when should you plan to take the training, which we call the FYS Institute? We offer the training twice yearly, once in the fall, once in the spring. We recommend that a faculty member goes through the training during the semester right before teaching FYS for the first time. So, if you would like to start teaching FYS next spring, with your chair's approval, of course, then you would need to sign up for and complete the training in the fall. On the other hand, while you may be really interested in teaching FYS, you may want to kind of get settled into your full-time position first and get your sea legs, so to speak, and think about teaching FYS in the fall next year. In that case, you would sign up for and complete the FYS Institute in the spring so that you would be ready for the following fall semester. Now, what's in it for you? Well, in addition to knowing that you are doing meaningful work, helping our first-year students strengthen their critical thinking skills, which ultimately will make them stronger students in their majors, theoretically, when you see them in your own subject areas, you're also helping our students persist from the freshman to the sophomore year. And then personally, it puts a little more change in your pocket. Faculty who complete the FYS Institute are paid $2,500. They get $1,250 after completing the initial training and then another $1,250 after they've taught at least 4 sections. We want to ensure that our investment in training pays off, so FYS instructors do commit to teaching at least 4 sections. Now that's another issue. You work with your chair to determine if you will teach your section in load, that is part of your regular teaching load, or as an overload. If you teach a section as an overload, above and beyond your regular teaching load, then you will be paid $3,500. So, $2,500 overall for training and developing your section, to be paid in 2 installments, $1,250 at the front end after the completion of the institute, and another $1,250 after having taught all 4 sections. And then if you teach a given section as an overload in the fall or spring, that's another $3,500. So, have I piqued your interest? Would you like to learn more or just chat a little about FYS? Well, join me at 10:45 a.m. Monday, August 17th via Teams. The Center for Teaching and Learning will provide you with the information you need to join me in Teams at 10:45. I hope to see you there, and welcome to Marshall.